Alright. 3 a.m. stream. Doesn't sound too bad. Let me check audio really quick. Scoot forward in this shit really quick, see if everything is working. Alright, yeah, everything's looking good. Excuse the noise in the background. I do got a fan going. I don't know how bad that's gonna be in background audio, to be honest. Alright. So, in all honesty, I am bored and just need some shit to do. So I'm streaming. Just streaming some casual games I'm about to run up. Just got done on a horror binge. Got way too deep into the Conjuring series again. And so I'm fucking committed to talking about some spooky shit tonight. I think I'm gonna start it off with some duels. Maybe go to some brawls, or maybe just go straight to the minion. We'll see what we're working with. But yeah, I don't even doubt that there's not going to be a lot of viewers or any viewers on this, to be honest, due to it being almost 4 in the morning. But yeah, I mean, anybody who genuinely does join this, welcome in. This is the usual life of the shit I'm doing, the stuff I partake in. Can't sleep, hop on the game, you know what it is. Gotta post on my socials really quick. Alright, shit, I should probably choose a hero. Alright, ain't gonna lie, yeah, I'm playing Orochi. I am playing Orochi because I'm a dirty bastard. Probably my most played hero for being for real. I don't think my stats update at all, but yeah, there's no way in hell that I have barely any of this playtime. An Aramusha for our first fight, alright. But yeah, alright, skipping all the usual, introduction stream bullshit. Just, I don't know what it was. Watching that movie, my bad, I was reading a text. Watching those movies just got me thinking, and I very much feel like talking about some of my experiences, if I'm being for real. Just the whole horror genre has always been a kind of comfort to me. I mean, I feel like that could be said for most people, but in all honesty, I relate to it heavily, being someone who is a big believer in that type of stuff. I'm lucky getting my ass whooped. But yeah, no. So being someone who's just a firm believer in the whole spiritual side of stuff, and I'm very confident I've experienced some type of stuff on my own. I don't know, I just haven't really given in any thought to a lot of spooky stuff here recently. But I got in the mood to just go on a horror binge again, and that movie kind of opened my eyes to like everything again. I've always been a hardcore horror fan. I mean, you could talk about any movie. There is some I haven't really seen. You know, I feel like that could be said for a good amount of people. There's some that I don't partake in. I'm getting my ass whooped this round, goddamn. There is some that I don't partake in watching just because I either don't got the time or I don't exactly know how to find them. Like, I know there's some really messed up, oh damn. I know there's some really messed up movies out there. I mean, a shout out really won't mean much coming from such a small channel like mine. But like Dead Meat or Spooky Rice, you know, shout out to those guys. They cover a lot of underground stuff, a lot of stuff that people know about as well. And I mean, there's a lot of like, especially really surprises me, a lot of stuff that's actually coming out of Japan horror-wise that's very intense. I can't remember the name of it, but I swear Spooky Rice has a video on it. There's this movie about this Japanese killer who like takes the faces of his victims or something like that. I swear that's what it is, or it's something similar to that. I might be wrong, but like I had no clue that the horror scene over like outside of the US would be very crazy. Given I'm pretty sure movies like that are kind of old. You know, it's wild to me to think that a country, I mean, I know when it comes to like video games and media, places like Japan or other countries per se have like very big censorship on stuff like that. So when it comes to like horror, knowing that they have something out there like that is just crazy to me. I mean, I also know that there's like, don't get me wrong, there's a whole bunch of mangas out there and animes that are pretty fucked. I mean, be for real, like, I have a whole manga collection right behind me right now, and we could dive into things like, Berserk. I mean, I literally have the Brand of Sacrifice tat on me. Like, that series as a whole explains, like, a whole bunch of trauma, and it's so messed up if you really dive into it and get to learn the series. A more kind of realistic one that I have in my collection is Tokyo Revengers. Not really a horror manga / anime per se, but it does kind of dive into more scary topics world-wise. You know, it's just crazy to think that other countries dive into that stuff and love it as much as ours. I mean, and I'm very open-minded to that type of stuff, you know, like, I'm a huge, what's the proper way to word this without coming off as sounding ignorant? I'm a huge culture lover, I guess you could say. I'm all open to learning other places' cultures, you know, like I love Japan, I love their culture entirely, but I still have a lot to learn. And it really surprises me to think that there was a day and age where they were like, oh, let's just make this stuff, you know, no fucks given, right? And that just really surprises me, given that I know like countries like that are trying to have huge censorship. I don't know if it's fully true. I do know that they had a ban against blood in video games and movies and like media, so they turned it white, which kind of looks bad. Maybe it was China who did that, I'm not fully sure. But hold up, taking a drink. It stuns me to think that there's some like crazy pieces of the horror media out there that a lot of people really don't know about because it's so underground and just so not talked about. I feel like there's still, honestly, to this day, a big amount of hidden gems out there that aren't really getting shown the light of day, all because of them being just so lost media or just lost to time. Like, it really amazes me to think that things are out there that people probably don't know about. On the topic of, like, lost media and horror in general, I don't remember what movie it was that Dead Meat had covered, but there's a director cut to a movie he had covered that, it's just gone. Like, they completely lost it, and it'll never be found. And it's wild to me to think that, like, stuff like that can happen. not even just horror-wise, but media-wise per se. I mean, you lose a whole cut to a movie, like everything you worked on. Like, I get things can happen, and I know directing a movie and working under all that, that can be very stressful. Like, I understand all of that. And so, you know, it's just crazy to me to think that there's something out there that was made that'll never see the light of day. Ooh, good parry. But anyways, back to the topic. I mean, horror-wise, I feel like that does happen a lot. I know there's been a great amount of horror movies that during the filming process have been, like, very bad. Especially if we go back to, like, the early Friday the 13th. A lot of those early movies had a very, very bad, just film process. I don't remember which one it was specifically, but I remember there was a director who just really didn't give a fuck about his, actors. He only really cared more about a paycheck. I don't remember which one it was. But I remember that was a very big thing. Dead Meat also covers that. You know, and that's one of the biggest reasons I love watching him and diving into horror with, like, people like him. You know, his channel is great. So is Spooky Rice. They cover stuff that a lot of the public doesn't know, or your average fan probably wouldn't know if it wasn't put out there and told. It's just simple stuff like that that I really do enjoy, which is why that channel, along with Spooky Rice's, is just definitely one of my comforts. It's just, continuing off the topic of Friday the 13th, filming and, like, all that, like, I know that's a huge process, you know, they put so much money and time into that, and to abuse your actors and everybody on your set, I just think that's really fucked. And I mean, it says a lot about you as a person. And to think that there's just so many places, horror-wise, like, that have been turned into shitty experiences for people, like, that honestly, that pisses me off, I won't lie. Horror is a genre that I feel needs to be done very safely for the actors and just anyone involved, really. Because, I mean, I'd have to look more into it. But I do know that there has always been the talk of The Exorcist, the first movie. I know there is talks of the whole set being affected, the crew being affected. Like, I know that apparently they had to bring all the students throwing his lights. But I know there was a whole talk of them actually needing to bring in priests to bless the set, actors actually getting injured, like the whole, I don't remember her name right off the top of my head, but she was like the main actress, she played the girl who got possessed. There was a scene where the demon was like attacking her, shaking everything in the room, like, and she actually got injured during that scene because of her back. I don't remember fully what happened, but like a lot of injuries and a lot of weird things happened during the filming of that movie. And to think that back in the day when a lot of stuff horror related was thought to be demonic or not really a part of the culture, or even possibly just straight up demonic, like worshipping and shit like that, it's wild to think that, like, this movie nowadays puts a lot to shame. I mean, again, I'm a huge horror guy, but nothing really could compare to a lot of the classics. And I know I probably sound fucking outdated with that type of shit, but again, it's wild to me to think that a movie like that had all that stuff happen, and you don't hear about it nowadays. It's not spoken about, it's not put out there, and a lot of people will think that it's bullshit, that it never happened. But I feel like there's a decent amount of evidence to point to this stuff really happening, and it really being a true case. And I mean, shining away from the horror side of, like, media and movies, you know, when it comes to scary stuff in general, I'm a huge fan. I just love, like, oh, good deflect. I just love the whole scary side of media in general. You know, I watch a lot of scary shit when it comes to YouTube, movies, Netflix, you know, anything. And so I'm a very big believer in this type of stuff. Like, I don't just watch this stuff for entertainment. I mean, don't get me wrong, it is entertaining. But being a person who believes so heavily in that stuff as well, I don't believe that for a single second that any of the stuff that's talked about or shown is fake. Especially when, oh, good shit. Especially when, like, there's records and evidence of a lot of this stuff happening and being real. I mean, me myself, I've experienced my fair share of stuff, and if it's believed, it is. If it's not, it isn't. I'm not gonna sit and fight on getting people to believe stuff that has been experienced in my life and others. But growing up, I had always been heavily interested in the spiritual side of stuff. I had ended up, like, when I was a kid growing up, I spent a decent amount of time with my grandparents. And one of my aunts would always be down visiting. And whenever she would visit, she would let me play on her phone sometimes. And when I wasn't playing, like, Minecraft Pocket Edition or just fucking around on, I didn't even remember what it was. But when I wasn't busy, like, actually playing a game, I'd be on YouTube. And I don't know what really sparked my interest in it. I genuinely couldn't say because I don't have an answer. But when it came to scary stuff, I was intrigued. Like, right off the rip at a young age, I was watching, obviously fake, but, like, young kid, thought they were real. I was watching, a few people may even know what I'm talking about when I bring them up, these Ghost Girl videos. There's a whole series. Let me pull up YouTube really quick, actually, see if I could find them. I think they still exist. Let's see. I spelled fucking girl wrong. Oh, there's a little peep. I actually really want to see if these videos still exist. Let's see. Let me spell it right first of all. Yeah, I think this is the channel right here. Hasn't been uploaded to in 5 years. Mark Absalon. Yeah, I think this is it. I think this is the guy. All these videos talking about the haunting, ghost caught on video, ghost girl, real ghost, and they all look the same for the most part. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the channel that I was watching. This is what I had kind of started watching when it comes to horror. What I kind of started pursuing, per se, when it came to my interest in this type of stuff. I remember, like, I have fond memories of going and, like, telling my mom and my aunt and being like, look at this, like, this is real, like, look at this stuff. And, being, like, the age I was, they would just kind of be like, oh, yeah, like, the usual. But the more I think about it and look back at it, having my interest in horror at a young age is just, I don't know, I don't want to say odd, but definitely surprising, I guess you could say. Because, I mean, don't get me wrong, a lot of people aren't introduced to this type of stuff, or they're kept from it, is a better way to put it. Because, they want their kids to not be exposed to this type of stuff. Or when it comes to, like, religion, a lot of people believe this stuff goes against their beliefs, so they don't want their kids being involved in it. And, again, I'm all for that. I could respect that. People's beliefs, I'm not one to judge. At the end of the day, it's what people want to believe. Whether it be religion or spiritual or any of that, I'm not going to judge. I'm not a person to judge. And I believe we shouldn't judge on that type of stuff. But at the end of the day, everybody has their different beliefs when it comes to introducing their kids to stuff like that or any of that, I know very heavy religious people who would think that it's demonic and that experiencing that, like, at a young age will set their child down the wrong path. Like, I know there's been so many arguments over this type of stuff, but I wasn't kept from it. And I feel that's kind of what opened my mind to a lot of this stuff. There was other videos that I can't even remember, like, to bring up because I don't remember what they're called. I don't remember who they were made by, any of that. I don't even really remember the whole concept. But I watched a lot of scary, haunting, ghost stuff growing up. Eventually I started watching horror movies, got into the horror scene in general, and from there, just my imagination took off. And growing up, I had always been a firm believer in spirits and ghosts and all this stuff. And having that belief growing up, I feel kind of added to everything that has gone on. Because you're very open-minded if you believe in that stuff compared to someone who doesn't believe in it. Because, I mean, again, otherworldly beings, stuff like that, like, that sounds crazy to most people. So believing in that type of stuff does kind of open your mind to a whole nother world. And I feel that it's not heavily looked at or talked about just because a lot of people feel kind of, I don't even know how to word it, just pressured to stay quiet about that stuff, I guess. Now, again, this could be the trick, or I can't fucking speak. I'm honestly running off of pure willpower right now to make this stream. But, it could have been my imagination playing tricks on me. But the fact that I experienced it like 4 times, that's what gets me to believe that that shit happened, and it wasn't just me, like, imagining things. So over the time span of my life, I had, growing up in my childhood house, progressively started to get a little paranoid. Not to, like, the usual, like, oh, someone's gonna break in shit, but to, like, things being here that shouldn't be here. Spiritual-wise, I have always, like, had the feeling of being watched and being stalked, shit like that. And that feeling is a feeling that you just cannot, like, feel. Like, you will feel that you're being watched, and you will have this intense, weird feeling, this anxious feeling even. And I had that feeling a lot growing up. A part of it very much could have been just my childhood mind being like, oh, you believe in this stuff so much, you watch these videos so much, like, it's gotta be happening to you, right? And now, again, maybe a part of that could be chalked up to that. But the rest of it, I could very much confidently say I believe in. Growing up in my childhood house, you'd have to see the layout, in all honesty, for it to make more sense. But there's a basement, and then there's an upstairs. You go up the stairs, immediately to your left, or your right, my bad, is a room. And then to your left is a hallway that leads to everything else. You know, the bathroom, a little hallway closet, and then 2 other rooms. And at the very end of the hall, there's 2 rooms. And I have my childhood room, which I had grown up in, and then the room that I'm in now, which I kind of migrated to and made my newer room a few years ago, back when I was still in school and shit. And so during all that time, I remember there was a time I was home alone, and I was coming up the stairs, and right when you come up the stairs, like, you could pretty much see right into the room that's right first there. It's my parents' room. And the way their room is set up is the bed's right in the middle. They have the big-ass room, you know, the master bedroom, because obviously. And so they have a pretty decent-sized room. So they got the bed in the middle, you know, and then they each have their own nightstand. And I was walking up the stairs, and actually, I could confidently say that I was at least 8 when this shit happened. I was walking up the stairs, and just out of the corner of my eye, I see this, like, black figure chilling over on the side of their bed. And it freaked me the fuck out. Like, I ran to my room, I fucking locked the door. Like, I sat there panicking for a decent fucking bit. And I never figured out what it was. Never figured out what it was. And you could chalk it up to, like, oh, maybe it was just some clothes or something. I positively, 100%, can say those weren't clothes. Because my mom, unless there's clothes in their dressers or any of that, my mom nor my dad leave clothes just hanging out like that. The only time they do is if it were work clothes they needed for the next day, and they would leave it on the end of their bed, because they had a very big bed, and it has, like, these little poles at the end, I guess you could call them. I don't know what to call them. But they would leave their work clothes, you know, for the next day, and none of their work clothes looked like that. I could 100% say that I saw something, and it honestly scares the shit out of me. Continuing on down the road, I had another experience just like that. Exact same thing, home alone, coming up the stairs, seeing the exact same thing in the exact same spot. It scared the shit out of me. I ran to my room, fucking had to calm down. And again, to this day, I don't know what it is. I have no clue what it represents. I have no clue what it was. But this one I remember very fondly because it was during the Titanfall era, back when Titanfall was popping again, and the second game was in beta. And so I remember coming up the stairs after hanging out with my mom a bit. I had played the beta for a bit, got bored, so I went outside with my mom in our backyard. We were just hanging with our dog, and she liked to sunbathe because she always likes to tan. And so I just hung out there with her for a bit, and I got a little bored, so I pulled up my phone and I started watching some scary shit. I don't know what overcame me, but again, big interest of mine. And so I started watching some scary shit. I actually fondly remember that I had watched some Ghost Adventures. I think that's what the show's called. Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, something like that. But I had got heavy into it. I was out there for at least 30 minutes, maybe a little longer, and then I decided I'm going to go back inside. I want to play more Titanfall. So as I'm going up the stairs, exact same thing happens. Corner of my eye, I just see this black figure in the exact same spot. This time I was a little like, oh, it's just my mind playing tricks on me. I just watched the scary shit. So I didn't haul ass to my room. I kind of speed walked in all honesty, because even though I was like, I'm pretty sure it's not real, it scared the fuck out of me, because I knew, like growing up, I had seen that shit before. So I speed walked to my room, closed the door, like try not to fucking freak out. And during that whole time, I'm just like paranoid because I'm like, whatever the hell that is, it's gonna come for me. And as wild as it sounds to say stuff like that, that's like, those were my real thoughts. And knowing all that I know about all this spiritual shit, that wasn't just a slight experience. That wasn't a perchance experience. It was meant to happen. There's a reason for it. And so it just it eats at me to think that maybe growing up there had always been something following me or watching me, and that scares the hell out of me. It continued on even when I got a little older. When I migrated to the other room that I'm in now, I was coming home from school one day. I had walked home because growing up the school was in walking distance. And my parents were out of town. I think they were doing some shopping or some shit up in another little town near us. But I'm walking home. I get home, say bye to my buddies because we all lived relatively close to each other. And then I go home, open the garage door, walk in, grab a drink, usual, like get home from school shit. I'm walking upstairs all ready to like hop on YouTube or play a game or something. And as I'm walking to the room that I'm currently in my old room, I see the exact same figure just sitting there, and it freaked the fuck out of me. Closed my door, locked that shit. Like I was like full alert, like hopped in a fucking PlayStation party, talking to my homies, like talking to anyone I could, because that scared the hell out of me. Like that legitimately scared the shit out of me. Knowing that it moved and I seen it again after all that time, genuinely scared the fuck out of me. And then I never really experienced something like that again. Um, I have experienced. I want to say it was my mind playing tricks on me, just given to the fact that I'm a heavy night owl, and during my school age, like I definitely stood up a lot, would stay up all night, would run on no sleep, like. So I remember like there'd be times where I'd have my door open, and the way I used to have my setup was very close to the door was like my setup. So when I was playing, I could just pretty much see into the hallway. And I swear I'd see shit like peeking in from the top corner of the door or from the bottom corner. I never saw something standing right at the door, but I'd see shit standing there peeking in. And I'd always chalk it up to, oh, it's my mind playing tricks on me. And I'd just go back to what I was doing. And I'd still see it in my peripheral vision. And that's just stuck with me. It's never happened again, nor has me seeing the figure in the corner of my eye in like a random room. But that really does scare the actual hell out of me. I don't know if there's a reason for it or if it was supposed to represent something, but that stuff has always stuck with me because it's just hard to let go of, especially when it's happened multiple times. And especially as I've gotten older too, to think that that's happened to me multiple times throughout my life That's what bugs me. And I don't know what it represents. I don't know what it can mean, but it's something that genuinely scares me. And I don't get spooked easy when it comes to stuff like this. Um, there was a time where there's been a few times actually where I have heard my name get called, and it hasn't been like anybody in the house. Let alone there's been times where nobody's been here, and I always get the worst feeling looking in a mirror. It just really bugs the shit out of me because it's the whole horror trope of something's going to appear behind you. And it's been a proven fact that a lot of the time your brain will get bored if you stare in a mirror too long, and it'll like make something appear to put you in adrenaline mode. And that just, again, I've never experienced seeing something in a mirror, but that scares the hell out of me. Like, mirrors scare the hell out of me, I won't lie. And continuing on, I have a decent bit of experiences throughout my life. Um, Growing up, I had always been the believer in my family. I've always tried to convince everyone, especially my parents, more my mom, but I've always tried to not really push my beliefs, but open their mind per se to be like, yo, like this is real. I believe this. Like, look at this. Um, Back when I was a very, very young child, like pre-consciousness and all that, so like very young, like months to a few years old, my parents had some other dogs before I had fully grown up, and they had passed away before I really had consciousness and could like actually, get to know them and all that. And I had a dream around the age of 6 about those dogs. Like they came to visit or something, and I had never really met them in my life because, I really wasn't conscious or had any understanding of life. And so it's weird to me to think that I had a dream of some animals I had never met and had no experience with, but it made me felt comforted. It made me feel safe, even, in all honesty. Like they were there for a reason. And then I fondly remember before we had gotten our family dog that I had grown up with, um, I would see out of the corner of my eye what looked to be dogs. And by any means, we had no animals for a long time. We had no pet for a decent while until we got our next dog. And so that also bugs the hell out of me. Um, when we got our next dog, she very much scared the hell out of me. Not in a bad way. I love that dog. Like, I grew up with that dog, and I miss her very dearly. But I believe she sensed some stuff here. It's very much a fact, very known fact that animals could sense stuff, could see like spiritual shit, because they have more of a third eye than we do, as a lot of people want to call it. And due to all that, I believe there was a lot of times where she was sensing something and freaking out. So a lot of the time, from our living room, you could literally just turn around and look upstairs and see the hallway. And a lot of the times when I was home alone, she would just stare up at that hallway, stare right at the top of the stairs, and she would just have this weird look, like she was getting aggressive and defensive. And that always bugged the hell out of me. But I never had the guts to turn around and look at whatever she was looking at. I couldn't. Like, I could not bring myself to look. And she did that a lot. I can't tell you how many times, but I very much can say it was above at least 13 times. And she did that a lot throughout me growing up. And I have this fond memory. I'd actually have to find the video because I know I have the video. I swear it's saved on my Snapchat. I had taken this video back when we had gotten back from a camping trip years ago. And so it was still summer for me. I had no worry about school, none of that. So we had gotten home, we had taken some stuff in the house, and it was nighttime. I had brought my stuff, I was playing the game. I get hungry, go to get a snack. It's like 2, 1 a.m. And I'm hanging with my dog on the couch when I notice she's just starting to kind of act weird. So I start recording, and I know for a fact, because I'm heavy into this scene, cameras pick up orbs. Cameras can pick up orbs, whether it be ghost orbs or light orbs, and that represents like spiritual activity and shit like that. I'm also turning on my light because I'm lucky spooking myself out. I had to close my fucking closet door. But anyways, I know that that stuff has to do with spirits in the spirit world. And so I have a video of her just looking up at these orbs that are very visible in that video. And it bugs the hell out of me to think that I probably kind of ignored something that I probably needed to pay attention to. But to this day, nothing has really come from that. I don't know what it was, but it really does bother me to think like I have experienced all this shit in this house, and there really shouldn't even be a reason for it. This house has no history whatsoever. My parents built this house. Like, nothing's happened in it. There's been no previous owners, so there's no reason why any of this stuff should happen, right? And so, just growing up, I mean, I've always experienced this type of stuff because I feel, on all dead honesty, that my beliefs open my mind to it. And so my mind, kind of knowing about all this stuff, is like, oh, well, we're gonna play this trick on you. It's gonna add to your beliefs, that type of shit. But it really does make me feel weird that I've experienced all this stuff and there's no answer for it. And I mean, I've never been a huge religious person either, but being someone who has been raised around a religious family, to think that stuff like this happens scares the hell out of me. And I mean, I've kind of not partaken, let me reword that. I've delved into the more gothic, like, type shit. I never once was a fucking, oh, Satan type person. I mean, it probably doesn't help that I'm wearing a whole pentagram ring right now, but, I've never been a whole, oh, evil, 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 type of person. So I have no clue what any of this stuff could represent. I have no clue what any of it can mean. A year or two ago, I had actually dived into experiencing a Ouija board. I had at least used it maybe 4 or 5 times in this house, and it had worked, and it had scared the shit out of me. I don't remember the names we were given, but I do fondly remember at one point it said kill. And I don't know. Maybe that was a sign. But, I've never done it again. Don't even have the Ouija board anymore. I actually think it got, like, thrown away or some shit, which I know that is so bad. That is not the proper way to dispose of that, let alone treat it. I know that's horrible. But the proper, like, setup and everything was followed. No fingers were taken off the planchette. No panicking. Nothing like that. But I very much do believe that partially opened up this house to more spiritual shit. I haven't experienced anything from my time being back in this house, because I did live in another place for a decent bit. But even then, that Ouija board experience, just those experiences with that Ouija board, I still think about to this day, just because of the stuff that was said. And I mean, again, maybe, I don't know if there's really any explanation for them at all. I don't know if there's some science behind it or what. I know that it's been used confidently, though, in a lot of spiritual shit by people who believe in this stuff. And that's a big part of why I believe that it is real and not some, like, electronic shit or any of that. Like, we kept getting names, we kept getting answers, we kept being told, like, pretty evil shit. And so that's why I am a huge believer in this type of shit. Especially when it comes to the whole, like, just contacting evil spirits in general. Because, again, being told the things we were told, like, oh, we want to hurt you, or shit like... There was one time, we had done multiple sessions back to back, which probably was not a good idea. The first time we were given some apparent spirit who wanted to protect us and was warning us about evil. Right after that, we got a evil fucking entity that was talking about wanting to hurt us. And then when we said goodbye and then did it again, it played us. It acted like the first entity and then revealed itself to not be that entity and was the whole evil hating one. I don't know if it's a bad omen to say the name out loud or say the name in general, but I have experience with the very notorious demon that can be contacted through the Ouija board. Um, I really, really dreaded it because I just knew that something bad was going to happen if that got pulled into everything. And I'm just going to go for it and hope for the best. Zozo, that demon that is known, that is very tied into the board, I have contact with. I have had contact with at least 2 to 3 times, and actually, it did the exact same thing that I was just talking about. It pretended to be someone else, and then completely swapped up and revealed itself to be who it was. And I have not experienced anything since. I've never touched a Ouija board since, but that has stuck with me. Knowing what I know about the spiritual world and side of shit, that horrifies me. Because that's like the most notorious demon when it comes to Ouija boards. That is like the one thing you do not want to come into contact with. And so to just know that it's happened to me bugs me. It irks me even because I don't know why it wanted to go after me. And I mean, again, a lot of this shit probably won't be believed, but I've experienced it. It's happened to me, and I can 100% say that I've lived through this shit, and it bugs the hell out of me that I don't have an explanation why. Hold up, answering a text. All right. So, I mean, I don't understand why it would contact me or come through the board. I I had so much understanding of the demon until now that I'm brain farting. I mean, I don't really remember everything about it, but I do know that it's a very evil entity, the most evil. Um, I just don't get why it would have came from me. I don't have any understanding to it. I don't know why. I mean, maybe I was in a vulnerable state at the time and just didn't know it, but there's no reason why I should have experienced that. At least in my eyes, in my eyes, there should have been no reason for that. And I contacted that demon at least 4 times through the exact same board. And again, that bugs the hell out of me because I don't know why it would try to contact me. Like it's been portrayed through horror movies and just media in general that is something you do not want to experience. That is someone you do not want to contact. You get in contact with that, you say goodbye immediately, and you do not try again. But I did, and here we are. I mean, I'm still alive. I'm doing my thing. I'm happy. But that bugs me to think that it's happened in this house too. But nothing's changed. Nothing feels different. So who knows at the end of the day? But it's just I can't shake the feeling that there was a reason that happened, and I don't know. It's just I can't even explain why it bothers me so much. It's just the whole fact of knowing what I know. There was no reason for that to happen, and it's odd to feel unsafe in your own home. And so I'm responding to another text really quick, so I'll probably be in and out. Um, it bugs the hell out of me to think that there was probably a reason for that whole contact, and I'll never know. I mean, I really do want to try anything again to figure out why. Maybe that's a bad idea. Maybe it's a bad omen. Who knows? But I want to know. I want to figure out. I want to experience that again. And I mean, in all honesty, it's a scary vibe. It's a scary feeling. I have never in my life felt the way I did when I had done that. A Ouija board, the anxiety-ridden feeling, everything was just horrifying. I don't know if you guys remember this old trend, the Charlie Charlie challenge or whatever the hell it was called. I attempted that when I was younger, and it was a trendy thing. Nothing ever happened, but that was another way of me kind of sliding into the spiritual world. And I don't know if any of the things I've done have had consequences on my later life, you know? It just bugs the hell out of me to think that I came into contact with the most notorious, most known, most like evil thing you could contact on that board, and nothing happened. And at the end of the day, you could say that's a blessing. That's like the best thing. Nothing happened. But I feel like there was a reason it came into contact with us, and something's still gonna happen that hasn't happened yet. And I'm open-minded when it comes to stuff like this. Here, hold on. I gotta finish writing this message. All right. So, continuing on. Hold on. I actually gotta respond to another one. All right. Back to it. Um, I don't even remember what the hell I was talking about. My sleep schedule's gonna be fucked. I'm gonna go and search this up really quick just because I want to dive into it more. All right. Oh, fuck. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Zozo, a demon believed to be summoned by playing a Ouija board. So, I'm on a Reddit page right now talking about Zozo. This person found a board being sold that has a note left in it that says, "Congratulations, you've been chosen. Ask for Zozo. Good luck. He knows the code." And I'm reading through some of the comments. Someone said, "It is a common thing that's supposedly spelled when people ask the board who they're talking to." Someone replied, "Which proves that it ain't real. Honestly, I want to play it though." And someone responded actually 5 days ago saying, "Why? If anything, it proves that it may be real. I and the people I was with had no idea who Zozo was when we were first using the board for the first time. It would spell it out, and that is all we could get it to do, no matter what question we asked, just back and forth. Z-O-Z-O-Z-O-Z-O. I wanted it to work and actually answer my questions, but it didn't. Had a similar experience with it only spelling mama repeatedly. Eventually, we became bored and stopped using it because couldn't get it to answer our questions without it having to spell Zozo or mama nonstop." Now, I never experienced the mama thing, but the whole going ZOZO I had experienced. I can very much say that I've experienced that. Um, Again, I don't know what it means. I have no fucking clue what that means, and that honestly bugs the hell out of me. I'm gonna try to find some more. Let's see. yeah, so here we go. So another Reddit link or page 3 years ago saying it's a very well known that Zozo was an urban legend created around circa 2009. Then it took on a life of its own. And someone responded, except for the fact me and my best friend spent the entire summer talking with the spirit with a different name, making friends with her. Then one day it started going crazy and spelling Zozo, Zozo, Zozo. And it started getting nastier and scarier. I googled the name and the original blog post is mainly all that came up, and this was years before the movie. So from my experience, it's not a phenomenon. I like to think that those that didn't experience it, it's like a Bloody Mary for people, because as for me, someone who googled it because it came through my board, then never let anything come through it again, it's very much real. Someone else responded, the exact same thing happened to me and my group of friends. We played it 5 times a day, every day for months, just because we had nothing else to do. We broke the rules as well. We would get high and play it, hopped fences at graveyards just trying to talk to someone other than Zozo. He would disguise himself as other people, and when we asked him more questions, he would ultimately reveal it was him trying to trick us. I truly believe that nobody will understand and believe it unless it happens to them. This is what ultimately led to me believing in God. There can't be a devil without a God, and I know that the devil is real. See, and again, trying to trick people and disguise himself as others and then reveal himself, I experienced that shit too. And I'm not trying to bullshit, you know? I mean, I very much believe in any of this stuff. And so that just scares the absolute hell out of me, especially to think that other people have had the exact same experience. And again, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I just believe there has to be a reason on why I've experienced that stuff. Let's see. Gonna continue scrolling. Why is it said that Zozo Demon haunts people during and after sessions? Is a demon that can be summoned through Ouija boards. He's the most known one. If you do not know what you're doing, the board can be dangerous. There are rules that you must follow. There are evil spirits that can harm you if you invite them into your realm. You must always be careful with things you don't fully understand. The main guidelines are: do not leave the planchette on the board unattended. If it is left on the board, make sure someone is holding it. Always say goodbye. Make sure the planchette goes to goodbye as well. If you do not, it's like setting a phone down without hanging up. The person could linger on the other line. Never invite an entity to make a noise to show it's present or invite it near you ever. You do not know what it is nor its intention, so please do not ask it to show itself. Do not let the planchette go from A to Z or 1 to 0, forward or backwards, because that is an incantation for a spirit to get into the human realm. If this happens, stop the planchette and say goodbye. Don't ever play in a cemetery. That's just asking for trouble. The dead do not want to be disturbed. If someone goes to your house while you're resting and constantly calls you outside the door, I'm sure you want to be happy either. Don't let the planchette make a figure eight. This is an incantation to pass into the human realm. Always play with respect. Imagine a board as an online chat room where you put your telephone number up and wait for someone to call you. Some tips I advise are: start a conversation by asking if there's anyone who would like to speak to you. Patience is key. Yes or no questions are usually the easiest for a spirit to answer. These are just people talking about rules. I want to find responses to this specific post. Also known as the Ouija board demon, is a malevolent entity that is believed to be summoned through the use of Ouija boards and other forms of spiritual communication. Um, Here, hold on, guys. I gotta answer a text. Same guys, like there's anyone in the stream. I just accidentally opened my damn stream trying to copy the link. I love how I said I was gonna play and fucking. I said I was gonna play and talk, and here I am in the menu after like 2 matches. Alright, continuing on. Hold on. Okay, going back to what I was reading. Backstory. According to some accounts, Zozo is believed to be a fallen angel who was banished from heaven by God. It is rumored that Zozo was the demon who possessed a boy named Roland Doe when he used a Ouija board. This possession was written about in the book The Exorcist under the name Pazuzu, which is inspired by the modern version of Pazuzu from Babylonian culture. Actually, I will add on to that. Pazuzu, I know, is one of the demons involved in the first Exorcist movie. I watched it, but I can't remember a lot of it. But I swear there's a scene where they're like in the desert or something, and they see a statue resembling a demon. The demon it was resembling was supposed to be him. Okay, continuing on. Zozo is often described as a cruel and sadistic demon who preys on people's insecurities and fears. It is said that Zozo mimics the voices of the dead that the user of the board wishes to communicate with. This demon takes pleasure in telling people they will die soon, and is known for being misogynistic. Zozo also enjoys deceiving and confusing its victims, pretending to be multiple spirits at once, and preying on their vulnerabilities. Possible encounters. There have been several reported encounters with him throughout history. 1951. A boy who allegedly got possessed by Zozo after using a board. He was eventually exorcised after a violent process. 1972. A mother in Los Angeles who used a board and found herself haunted by a dark entity that sought to harm her and her family. 1977 to 79. A family in Enfield, England who experienced. Wait, is this the one that's based off of fucking The Conjuring? And then 2012. A small group of soldiers who played with the board and made contact with an alleged spirit. One of the men got possessed and almost caused a car crash. 2019. A YouTuber who attempted to contact Zozo through a board and claimed to have made contact. Strange occurrences such as lights going out and poltergeist activity were reported during and after the communication. I am diving into some spooky shit. Is not an urban legend. Said to be the demon of destruction. Acts friendly while lying a lot about its malicious intent. Will then curse and threaten the user. Demonic possession is always associated with this demon. It is better to stay away from the board entirely if you do not. But if you do come into contact with it, do I need to turn my music back on? I do not like the silence. I'm gonna turn the shit up a bit too. If I get hit with anything, I get hit with it. But anyways, entirely if you do not come. But if you do come into contact with it, remember to close the board properly and then cleanse the house. The Zozo spirit waits for users who play the board and are inexperienced. Many have written their story of the board and Zozo. In ancient Babylonian times, sacrifices were made to an ancient demon named Zozo, which may be the ancient name for this demon. This demon is similar to Moloch in a very malicious evilness and wickedness. Ouija board signs of Zozo. The planchette begins rapid figure eighting on rainbow side to side movements. The planchette spells out the name, or its alias is Zaza Mama Oz Zozar Occubus. Terrible feelings of depressions or uneasiness stirring after the Ouija board experience. Strange dark shadow movements in or around the room or area. What do you do if you come into contact? Do not panic. Feeds off your fear like others, entities, and demons. Always remember to close the session. If using the board, move the planchette to goodbye. I cannot stress this enough. Move it to goodbye. Always set boundaries with entities, demons before you start interacting with them. Smudge the area and participants to cleanse them from the evil Zozo attaching itself. Do not ever use the same board again. Oh, great. Do not burn, cut, or attempt to destroy the board. Never speak the name. That's lovely. Yeah, that's great. This is great. There's so much shit that oh my god. Let's see. What else? Let's see. Let's see if this brings up some more shit. I mean, I really don't want to start pulling up fucking TikToks. So, I'm not going to. I'm just trying to find articles. Yeah, I don't know. There's not a whole lot online as you would think there is. I think it's because I'm mostly finding the movie or the books. But I don't know. I had that experience and it's always stuck with me. Again, like one of those comments said earlier, it's probably not going to be believed unless someone experiences it themselves, which I wholeheartedly believe. I don't know. I still struggle to think of what any of that could have resembled. Um, you know, from there, I have had my fair share of experiences. Nothing nearly as insane as that. Um, Back when my childhood dog had passed away, there was a moment where I remember coming down the stairs and seeing the beginning snout of a dog, and then it just vanished. That has been something that stuck with me. I really love that dog. You know, that was my best friend, and that is something that just I can't let go of. A part of me wants to believe that it's like her kind of watching over me, you know? Um, Other experiences I've had, I excessive detail into it, I guess is the best way to put it. I had someone very close, at least 11 to 13. I was laying on top of the stairs hanging out with my childhood dog, who was still alive at the time, and it was just me and her. I was home alone, and I was laying on top of the stairs right under our AC because it was a very hot day, and I had felt this like feeling on my leg, like something had pulled me, but obviously being the only person in the house other than a dog, how's that gonna work? And so I felt it again after just kind of ignoring it. So I started genuinely tweaking. I was like, what the fuck? What was that? So I'm looking around, nothing. And I just go back to chilling, kind of on edge, just chilling with my dog. And that's when I feel it again, and I like genuinely got moved back a little bit. So being said earlier that I had someone pass away who's really important to me and close to me, it wasn't that long after that had happened. So I very much got a little curious, I won't lie. I popped a question. I was like, if that's you, like, do it again. I felt something grab my ankle. I said, do it again if it's you. It did it again. And so then I said, do it again one more time. I need to fully confirm. Did it again. And that's when I was genuinely spooked the fuck out. I got up, felt this just devious, weird, intense cold feeling, and then it went away. I hauled ass to my room, brought my dog with me. I was panicking, I was freaking out. Like, I felt every emotion at once, and I just couldn't chill out for a whole hour. Like, I sat there trying to chill out, put on some YouTube, was trying to pet my dog to calm down. I was so freaked out, and that is something that I can't let go of either because, again, that just weirds me out. Growing up, I've grown up around a native and religious family, and I also have some native blood in me as well. And so I've been very open to a lot of stuff. I've been very open minded to stuff. I know a lot of, like, you know, I know a lot of shit that really shouldn't be talked about, and I'm not going to talk about it. Actually, I will throw this out there. Um, I was hanging out with a friend of mine who was a very big creepypasta fan back in the day, and I was kind of into it, but I wasn't like huge on it. Slender did kind of bother me, like in a uneasy way more than a like scared way. But with all the edited pictures online and shit, and just all that, and it being made to look so real, it really did give me like this disturbing feeling. And so I remember coming home from hanging out with that friend, and I had a fucking nightmare about Slender in that exact room, in this exact house, and he was just chilling staring at me, and it genuinely scared the hell out of me. Like, I remember in my dream, I'm coming from my parents' room, and I don't even know what time it was, but I come from my parents' room, the TV is on in my room, and I, like, see him behind me. Spooks the fuck out of me, so I haul ass to my room, jump, like, dive on my bed, turn around, he's just there, just chilling, staring at me. And I just start freaking out because he's just looking at me. And, like, I had never experienced horrible anxiety, horrible anything really, until I got a little older. But I could very much say I had the feeling of what would have been a panic attack. I woke up so fucking horrified. And by any means, that could have just been a dream about something that I had experienced knowing about, like, in real life. But that has been a dream that stuck with me. I've never really had any other dream about anything else. Growing up, I did have some nightmares here and there about being kidnapped and shit like that. I remember there was a time I had dreamed, or dreamt, I think is a proper term, at the same time as my dad. I remember being younger and having a nightmare from my POV, and then seeing what was going on with my parents. And my dad was having the same exact dream because I remember waking up and hearing what he was saying in that dream down the hall. That's actually happened at least 2 times. That really scares the shit out of me. The same things happened with my mom, but a different dream. I used to have this reoccurring dream of running from something chasing me. I never knew what the something was, but I just know it was so bad that it made me fucking haul ass. I would run and I'd be trying to get away so quick that I would just jump from the very top of the stairs. And being younger me at the time, smaller, therefore probably meaning serious injury, right before I hit the ground, I'd wake up. And I had that dream at least 8+ times. I don't know what it means, don't know what it represents, but it bugs the fuck out of me. Because I know a lot of these things have meaning. Growing up and continuing on, I had a similar dream, but I had gotten heavy into Ratchet and Clank. The game has different names all over. I know that I think it's in Europe. It's not called Deadlocked, it's called Gladiator, I'm pretty sure. And if anybody's played that game, or if you just look it up, you'll see one of the guns that Ratchet has access to. I think, if I remember right, they're called the Pit Vipers. They're like these dual-wield submachine guns, and I thought they were so cool. There's even like a cheat you can activate where Ratchet will hold them sideways. And I had a dream similar to where I was running from the top stairs, but it tied in something I did when I was younger. I started to slide down the little banister for fun, and this dream incorporated me running from something, sliding down the banister while for some reason having the fucking guns Ratchet had, shooting at whatever was in the living room because it was, I guess, hostile to me, turning around and trying to blast whatever was chasing me, but not being able to see what it was. Which is why I said I have no clue what it ever was that was chasing me. And I've had some pretty crazy fucking dreams. Like, I got done telling people about a kind of reoccurring dream I've had that I had a few weeks ago that kind of continued. I've always had this, like, I don't even know what age it was when it started, but it's happened and continued, like, every few points in my life. I hadn't dreamt about that shit for a few years. It would be where, like, obviously there'd be someone in the house or something to worry about. And the first time it happened, I just remember being paranoid. There was obvious signs someone was in this house, and yet, like, nothing could be found. The second time I remember, like, seeing something resembling a person, and just from there waking up. But this third one, this most recent one, this is the one that bugs me. I woke up and went to work with such an uneasy feeling. So it starts with me being in my room, and it's late at night, I'm about to go to bed, when I start hearing shit. And so in the stream, I have my parents in it, and then I have some friends. And so my friends, I have some friends downstairs in the living room, which is closer to our garage. I mean, obviously. And then I have some friends in another room, like next to me. And then I have my parents in their room. So we hear this noise, and me and my dad go to investigate because it genuinely sounded like someone broke in. So me and my dad, being the gun enthusiasts we are, like home defense, ready to defend people we care about, like he gives me one, he grabs one for himself, and we go patrolling the fucking house. We check everything, and that's when we get to what we find to be the source of the noise. It's in our garage, and now we have an attic very high up in the ceiling above the garage. And in the dream, it kind of changed up the layout. Like, there's not some big ass pipe up there like there was in my dream, but we start to see, like, obviously, like signs of movement. So me and my dad kind of freaked the fuck out because like nothing should be making that movement at all. Like, not a fucking animal, not a rat, nothing. And that's what we had chalked it up to be at first. Oh, it's just like a rat or something, we'll deal with it later. But the way the movement like started to be, it could have been a person. So I won't lie, us being fucking like paranoid as shit, we fucking train our goddamn weapons on this thing, and we're yelling like, "Yo, like whoever you are, like we have guns on you right now. Like, stay where you are." All that shit, the usual. The movement just keeps going, like back and forth, all fast, and eventually it stopped. And so it's like fucking, I don't know. I guess I could say like 3 a.m. or some shit, and it's dark out, but there's still lights out, and the moon's pretty bright. I go outside, and for whatever reason, my parents' car wasn't in the garage like it should have been. It was just chilling in the driveway. And then we had my dad's truck, and then we had my friends' cars and shit like that. And I hear this scream. So I go running over there while my dad's checking to make sure everyone else is okay. I go running over there with one of my friends who is, I want to say, a pretty avid believer in this stuff too. I'm not sure if he is. But, we go running over there to our neighbors. And the way our area is like right in our backyard, like right on the other side of our fence is a neighbor. And that's the house where we heard the scream from. So we go running around the side of our house to their front yard. And the lady who lives there is like freaking out, talking about seeing some shit. And so that's when I look at my friend and I'm like, bro, what the fuck's going on? So we talk for a bit when then we decide to start heading back to our front yard. Well, my front yard, whatever the fuck you want to call it, I don't really care. Um, we start going back to the front yard of my place when we just hear the shatter. So I go hauling ass, and in the middle of me trying to go haul ass, this car pulls up in front of us, takes a turn down my street, and just stops for a second, and then keeps going. I have no fucking clue who the person was. They stared at me for a good second and then just left. But that got me to pause for a second, and then I kept hauling ass. I come back to see that my parents' car, like the doors were open, some glass was broken, so were my friends' cars and my dad's truck. Like, it was clear that someone had broken in and stolen shit. So I'm weirded out. And then, out of fucking nowhere, might I add, this is weird. This is weird as shit. I have no clue what it was. This friend of mine who wasn't even like there at the moment appears with a horse. Horse, don't know fucking why. People out here have horse training classes pretty close near me, so I guess that could have been what it was. But we start talking and about what's happening because they pull up right after seeing that like it looks like we obviously got fucking robbed. So I start walking down the block with them, and that's when their horse starts acting like scared, like fucking horrified, like it senses something, and then eventually it just starts booking. So I turn around to like see what the fuck's going on because I just hear this fucking shatter again like it's a window. I turn around, and in a matter of seconds, my friend who was with me, he like just either disappears or does nothing. The horse is running, and I see this figure, like this shadowy figure, jump from the window of the second floor of the room that I'm in right now after breaking the window, like land on the fucking grass, not bend their knees at all, and then start running towards me. And I know this is gonna sound fucking insane, but for those of you who played the first Five Nights at Freddy's, you all know how fast Foxy runs down the hall. This person starts running that fucking fast to me. I go to get my gun up, and that's where I wake up. Right as it like closes on me as my gun is being raised, as I'm pulling the fucking muzzle up to pop a shot off, and it gets closer and closer, that's where I wake up. And I don't know what the fuck that dream represents. I have no clue. I have no idea. But that shit scares the fuck out of me. But I always believe things happen for a reason. Things like that happen for a reason. Dreams can be used to tell a message. And so I'm a firm believer in the whole this could have meant something, or there's a reason for the stream. But I don't know. Just that really bothered the hell out of me. I've had another dream that I can't fully remember exactly what happened, but I do know that it left me with the same uneasy feeling after waking up, and I carried that feeling for a good few hours. I don't know why I have dreams like that. Maybe it's just my wild imagination. Maybe it's my fears and everything else tying together, but who knows? Um, it's almost fucking 5 in the morning. I've been live for barely an hour, but I don't know. I got deep into talking about all this stuff, and I just don't really feel like playing. And considering most people are asleep right now, so I have no one to interact with in this stream, probably gonna call it here. So I mean, I'll have a VOD. I'll probably send this VOD out, have some people watch it. Probably stream again later. Talk about this shit. Maybe even get some people in on it. So yeah, I mean, whoever ends up watching this, shout out you, thank you. Um, I mean, I don't know. I could talk about type of shit like this for days to hours. I'm a firm believer in the spiritual world. Just felt like I should share some of my experiences after being kind of brought back into it. So, I mean, yeah, shit is what it is. This is a very random and awkward stream, I know. But, I don't know, I got the urge to stream and talk about this shit, so I did. I'm going to try to be more active with this shit again, so we'll see where we go from there. And that will be the end for tonight.